Okay. So I think before I start with my first talk, the first talk will be cycle 11 capabilities and future, and then there's another talk on proposal preparation process, and then we will have a science talk from Michael. But before I begin, I want to show you because I mentioned about there's a lot of documentation and infos on the ALMA science website, and I just want to showcase a bit. So this is the almascience.nrio.edu, and basically you can find all the information. There is a cycle 1 documentation and also previous cycles. And specifically for proposing, you can find the cycle 11 call for proposal is already out, and the timeline is here. I think, Michael, you asked about the timeline. So yeah, so the call for proposal, all the documents are already released, and the proposal deadline is April 25th, which is a month after now. And there is also a peer review system. So now ALMA is adopting peer review for proposals. So if you submit a proposal, then you will be in charge of reviewing 10 proposals. Yeah, so this is a peer review system. I think they only started this from cycle 8 or 9, so it's pretty recent. I think it's because there's too many people are submitting to ALMA. So yeah, so if you submit a proposal, then you will hear back from them you'll need to review for a set of proposals, and that deadline is June 1st. And one important thing to note is that these deadlines are very strictly enforced. So you have to submit before the deadline. There's no like if you say oh, I misinterpret the time zone, or my power went out, my dog ate my proposal, that is not going to they will not give you remedy for that. Yeah, so and for the peer review system, if you don't submit your review online, your proposal will be rejected. So this is very, very strict. Yeah, and and the outcome of the proposal will come out sometime in August, and the observations will start in October until next September. So yeah, so this is a rough timeline, just to give you a sense of that. And yeah, you can always find cycle, the new cycle capabilities, which my next talk is basically walking you through these latest ALMA capabilities here. So these are all, yeah, this is the table I showed earlier on the slide on the largest angular scale and the angular resolution. So yeah, so just keep in mind that if you want to know more details, definitely visit this website, and all the information in my talk will likely be included there. And here is the observing tool where you can download. I'm not sure if everyone has downloaded yet, but here you can download the latest observing tool for this cycle. And also I mentioned that ALMA primer, if you are new to ALMA, you can start with the ALMA primer, which makes you baby Yoda, if you remember that slide. Yeah, so here there are actually many. Wait, is it only it? No. Yeah, so here's a PDF version that gives you introduction of all the radio interferometer stuff and what science you can do with it. And I think there are, maybe under tools, there are ALMA primer instruction videos. So here you can find many interesting videos on talking about data processing, imaging, and basic interferometry. So this is really a lot of information in this website. Yeah, just want to kind of demonstrate it before I start my talk. Okay. Okay, now let me bring up my slides. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll spend the first. Oh, so this afternoon session is mostly about ALMA proposals, submission or preparation. So I'm not sure if any of you are planning or thinking about submitting ALMA proposals. Like anyone, like raise your hand if you're thinking about it. Okay, yeah, but okay, great. So yeah, the afternoon session will be more on the proposal preparation, and it will be more like hands-on and like tell you like what you can do to prepare for proposals. So I'll start the first about 10 minutes on explaining the new capability this cycle. And as I mentioned, this will be mostly walking through that information you saw on the website. Okay, so in general, we know that ALMA's capabilities include both imaging and spectroscopy. So, for example, yeah, this is actually the image I wanted to show Jake, like, because you asked about the weather conditions. So yeah, these are like from band 1, band 2, band 3, all the way to band 10. And you can see that for higher frequency band, like the transmission rate really becomes low. So these bands depends a lot on weather condition, but you can see from like band 1 to band 6, the transmission rate is like very high. So we usually don't worry too much about the weather. Yeah, so currently ALMA has 10 receiver bands, and all of the windows are where the transmission rate is at least 50% under regular weather conditions. And so this allows us to detect a variety of molecular lines. So here you can see like there's really a lot of lines we can detect it, and also including the science we've all heard about, like there's a bunch of molecular lines. And also we could detect the continuum. So this famous HLTEL image was actually detected in continuum. And for example, I also showed, oh no, I didn't really show this image, but like ALMA also supported for polarization observation. So this is very useful in studying the magnetic fields. And also ALMA is part of the very long baseline interferometry techniques. So VLBI. So I also showed, so because I showed that longer baseline will have like higher resolution. And you also see that NRO have a VLBA array that like spans a very wide range of baselines, like from US Virgin Islands to Hawaii. So this VLBI is what we use to detect the first black hole image, and ALMA is an important part of detecting this black hole image actually. Okay, so now let's see what are the capabilities for this coming cycle 11. So first, I do want to bring up that all of this is fully described in the website I showed. And I also mentioned earlier in the morning that regardless of what science you're proposing, we ensure at least 43 antennas in the 12-meter array being used, regardless of the conditions or something. And 10 7-meter antennas will be used for the ACA arrays, and 3 12-meter antennas for the single dish total power observations. And the most exciting part for this cycle is that all the receiver bands are available, except for band 2. Of course, it's not coming up yet. Like they're still working, they're still under construction, but like receiver 1 to 10, except 2 are available for the first time. And also all the configurations from C1 to C10 is also available in this cycle. So this means the maximum baseline can range between like 150 meters to 16 kilometers, depending on the configurations. So yeah, and also I want to highlight a few new capabilities that is just starting from this cycle. So starting from this cycle, they support full polarization in band 1, the lowest frequency band, in the 12-meter array. So previously they already supported this, but only from band 3 to band 7. So from this cycle, band 1 is also supported. but this is for the 12-meter array. So for the 7-meter array, Gen 1 is still, the polarization for Gen 1 is all for Stokes I only. So their Stokes Q UV are still not available, but they are working on that. And I expect the next cycle or the next cycle should be available. And the high frequency and long baseline observation with band 9 in C10 and band 10 in C10, C9 and C10 are available for the first time. So if you recall, like previously I showed that the cycle 10 table only has until C8 configuration, but now C9 and C10 is available for all bands. And the 4x4-bit spectral mode on the 7-meter array is available. I will actually explain this. Is a bit technical, like this is what you'll need to address on the observing tool. But the main idea is that this 4x4-bit spectral mode gives you a much better sensitivity than the original 2x2-bit spectrum. And also, there are a lot of recently launched telescopes and other state-of-the-art telescopes in other wavelengths, and ALMA right now supports joint proposals with like JWST, VLA, and I think VLBA as well. So I will talk more about that later. And then in terms of the allocated observing time, so there will be 4,300 hours allocated on the 12-meter array as well as the ACA array. And in the past, sometimes ALMA will have an additional supplemental call for only ACA observations. This is because the majority of people actually just want to submit for 12-meter time because that is why ALMA is good, right? But like, as I mentioned, ACA is also important for if you want to detect this diffuse emission, like the low spatial frequency component. And so they really encourage people to submit ACA alone proposal, especially in this LST range. So this is just based on statistics because they found that like at this range, the ACA usage is like pretty low. So they especially encourage this. And they also strongly encourage you to submit proposals in the high frequency bands, band 8 to 10. This is because people also know that the weather conditions might not be well, so people might not be too willing to support proposal on that because they expect they might not be observed shortly. But they really want people to submit because I mean, if the weather condition is good and there's no proposal, then it's just a waste, right? So definitely good to submit that. And also for low frequency bands at long baselines is also very highly encouraged because yeah, so these are where they found the proposal amounts are not good enough. And I mentioned that there is a proposal review process. So if you're submitting standard proposals, which means that you're asking 12-meter array time less than 50 hours, then you will need to do the peer review proposal. And yeah, and there's also a detailed instruction on the ALMA Science portal that I showed. And so the definition of large programs is that if you ask for over 50 hours on the 12-meter array, or if you ask larger than 150 hours on the ACA array. But if you ask for both, then it will only the 12-meter array is deciding whether it's a large proposal. So that means if I ask for say 20 hours on the 12-meter array and 200 hours on the 7-meter array, it's still a standard proposal. And yeah, so as I mentioned, the peer review process will be dual anonymous. So you will not know who is the author, the PI of that proposal. But that also means when you prepare the proposal, you have to ensure people will not identify who you are. So for example, don't cite like 10 in prep. So don't cite any in prep works. And yeah, so there are also detailed instruction on how to ensure dual anonymity on the ALMA website. Okay, so here I just want to break some perception. So the ALMA really encourage actually medium-sized proposals. That means asking for a 12-meter between 25 to 50 hours, because not many people do that, and because people seems to think that they will have a better chance if I ask for less time, but that is not true. So for example, this is a statistics from cycle 9. So x-axis is the 12-meter time they ask, and this is the success rate. And you can see that basically the success rate is constant up at least up to 30 hours. And it even kind of increased between 30 and 40 hours. And you can also see that the time that proposals asked have been increasing throughout the cycle time. And as far as I know, so this is until cycle 9. As far as I know, cycle 10 break the record. So cycle 10 is like even going on. So people are asking for more and more time, and that doesn't decrease your success rate at all. And so I talked about joint proposals. So there are joint proposals offered with JWST, VLA, and VLT, which is the Very Large Telescope. So first of all, joint proposals must require observations with 2 or more observatories to achieve their science goals. So this means that your science case must be like, your science goal must be achieved with 2 or more observatories. For example, like if I have a science case, I think it should be observed well with ALMA, but it's even better if I observe with JWST. In that case, you shouldn't submit a joint proposal. Like your science case have to be able to get it done with both observations. Yeah. So so when they review a joint proposal and they found that it's not the case, then it will likely be rejected. And a joint proposal is submitted to only a single observatory. So like, for example, if I'm proposing ALMA plus JWST, then I should first identify which one is my main observatory, and I submit to that observatory. And the main observatory is determined by like which one you're asking for more time, then you submit to that. So yeah, so because they want to avoid double reviewing and stuff. Yeah, so starting from cycle 10, and they're continuing this in cycle 11, ALMA will allocate up to 115 hours of JWST time and 5% of the available time on VLA and 50 hours of the VLT time. So these information can also be found on the call for proposal site on the ALMA site. And so some important notes about joint proposals. So as I mentioned, you have to clearly demonstrate both observatories are needed. And so I basically covered this, that the main observatory is determined by that asking for more time. And you only have to submit to one observatory, and if 2 or more non-ALMA observatories are required, then ALMA must be the main observatory, or they will not accept the proposals. And yeah, so to submit a joint proposal, you simply have to indicate that is a joint proposal on the ALMA observing tool. And then for large programs, if you decide to submit a large program, then it is strongly recommended that you contact your local ARC, which is the ALMA Regional Center. I mentioned in the beginning of the talk, it's NRAO basically in North America, or NAOJ in Asia, or ESO in Europe. And for large programs, the scientific justification will be 6 pages, up to 6 pages. This is different from standard proposal where 4 pages of science justification is the maximum. And large programs also need a management plan. So this part you will describe your publication plan, your plans, your team activities or something. So this part will not need to be dual anonymous. And also large programs, like it's not peer reviewed, so it's reviewed by tech. Yeah, that's probably all. And so finally, I just want to spend a few slides to talk about the future plans of ALMA. So first of all, the construction of Band 2, as I mentioned, is ongoing, and it's expected to finish within the next few years. And also, I've been emphasizing that all observing bands out to every configuration is already starting this cycle 11. And for observing modes, I mentioned that the full support of polarization is expected to be done in the next few years. And the top priority for ALMA in these years is actually the wideband sensitivity upgrades. So they are actually now testing this on the Band 2, because Band 2 is currently the one like still under construction. So they want to bring out this Band 2 and the wideband sensitivity upgrade at the same time. So yeah, so this is ALMA 2030 development plan. So they expect these to be done like a brand new upgrade for ALMA like by 2030. And you can see their top priority is increase the receiver bandwidth by a factor of at least a factor of 2. And they also want to optimize science archive, extend baselines to reach even higher resolution, and increase the number of antennas to have even better sensitivity, and also study possibility for wide field mapping. So their top priority wideband sensitivity upgrade is actually expected to happen in the next few years, and it will bring in many new capabilities. So the most important one is a larger spectral bandwidth. So this would be very useful, for example, like the multi-line observations, like what I was doing. If we increase the bandwidth, then it is possible to like instantaneously detect like even more molecular lines at the same time. So like, for example, in my case, my observation actually used different bands of ALMA. So that requires actually 3 or 4 cycles of ALMA proposal, which is very tedious. But like with this wideband sensitivity upgrade, it could be possible that we detect all these in the same time. So this will be really helpful for many science case. And yeah, also they are improving the receiver performance and also the digitalized efficiency of the receiver and correlator efficiency, so that the data rate will be increased and like even more efficient to get the data and get it analyzed. So they expect the wideband sensitivity upgrades to give us first science by the end of 2030. Okay, so at the end, I want to mention like there are many support from NASC. So NASC, I'm not sure if this appeared before. Okay, NASC is North America ALMA Science Center. So that's basically a center based at NRAO and like in charge of ALMA related stuff. So NASC provides a lot of support for ALMA stuff. So the most important one is the ALMA help desk. So it's also on the ALMA Science portal that I showed. And so if you have any questions, just submit a ticket to ALMA help desk and they will respond to you usually within a day, I would say. Yeah. And so I think that this is a very useful support. And also, if you propose to ALMA and get the data, you could submit a student observing support. So if you have data, then they may provide you up to 35K to support undergrad or grad students on these data. And NASC also support for workshop or conferences related to ALMA. So if you want to organize workshop or conference, it doesn't have to be related to ALMA data, or even if it's like ALMA science related workshop, they will provide very generous support. And yeah, I think also like if you are proposing for large program, they provide even more support. I think maybe 100K or something, which is very generous. And also, NRAO supports page charts if you use any ALMA data. So I've been benefited that a lot. So yeah, so if you use any of the ALMA data, just listen on your publication, and you can submit a page chart request on the NRAO website, and they will get back to you very quickly. And I think it depends on how many authors and co-authors you have that is based in the US institutes, then they will decide what percentage they support your page charge. And I think, and also there's a face-to-face visitor support, which is super useful, I think. So this means that if you have ALMA data and you're wondering how you should process it, and you're not sure whether you are doing data reduction correctly or something, or like using their pipeline, you can apply for a face-to-face visit at NRAO. And so they provide up to 2 people from 2 teams per week. And that is actually a lot. So if you apply, there's a high chance that you will just get it. And finally, the ALMA ambassadors program, so which is why I'm here. So you can also become an ALMA ambassador too, as long as you are based in US institutions. So I think this is a very generous program that they provide 10K per year of research grant or travel support for you. And you don't have to, like, you can basically, you can do anything as long as it's science related and not necessarily ALMA related. So this is your award. But of course, you have some duties. You have to organize workshops like the proposal preparation workshop and data processing workshops, and you might need to help be on the like review panels for like the student observing support or ALMA proposal reviews or something like that. But it's a good program, and they offer you trainings before you organize your workshop. So they will send you to NRAO headquarters for free, cover all the expenses, and yeah, the training itself is also fun because you could always learn. Like even if you are already an expert, you can still learn something from those real experts at NRAO. And yeah, and I just want to mention that the application for Cycle 12 ALMA Ambassador is out already last Friday, I think. Yeah, so last Friday or Thursday it's out, and this year the deadline is earlier. It's May 24th, 2024. So apply if you are interested. So I mean, there's nothing to lose, right? Okay, yeah. So this is the end of my talk on the ALMA capabilities. Are there any questions before I go to the next?
What's required for the ALMA master's application? How long is it? Do you need like letter writers, or do you have to write something?
Okay, so the ALMA ambassador project, the ALMA ambassador program actually. Let me see if I could click on this. Yeah, so so the requirement is that, so first of all, you have to be based in US institution. You could be postdocs, senior grad student, or earlier career researchers. And the application material is like you simply fill out an application form, answer the questions, and send your CV to this email. So the application form will have some questions you need to answer. So it's like why do you want to become an ALMA investor? Like how is ALMA related to your research, and maybe listing some plans of how you will organize the workshop. Yeah, So it's not, it's a like 2 or 3 page statement. Yeah. Okay. Let me get rid of this. Any other questions? Okay, if no, I will start my next presentation on the proposal preparation process.